4 clear signs of immaturity in men. Hey ladies, have you ever found yourself in a relationship where everything seems perfect from the outside, but behind closed doors, it feels like you're shouldering all the adulting? Maybe you were initially drawn to his laid-back, go-with-the-flow charm, but now you're feeling more like his parent than his partner. Handling the finances solo, keeping tabs on the social calendar, and being the only one putting in the emotional labor. Sounds familiar? It's tiring, right? You're not alone in this. Many women find themselves with such immature men who, while adventurous and fun, shy away from emotional challenges and downright avoid conflicts. Your friends might say you've struck gold, but sometimes it feels like you're living with an adult child. In this video, we'll discuss 4 clear signs of immaturity in men so you can spot them early on. Because while a little boyish charm is cute, dealing with a full-time boy in a man's body is a whole different story. So watch the video until the end, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the Brainy channel and hit the bell icon, so you won't miss any future videos we upload. Getting back to the video, let's start from number 1. Number 1, you feel alone, like you're on an island even though he's sitting right beside you. To understand this one, let's paint a picture. You've had one of those exhausting weeks where everything that could go wrong did. It's Friday night. You both decide to stay in, maybe have some takeout and catch up on each other's week. You're nestled on the couch, looking forward to unloading and sharing, hoping to find solace in his comforting words. You begin discussing the work challenge that's been stressing you out, or perhaps the family drama that unfolded over the week. However, mid-conversation, you sense that disconnect. His eyes are on the TV, or perhaps he's subtly checking his phone under the blanket. He's with you, sure, but his mind? It's galaxies away. Dating an immature man feels a lot like shouting into a void. You pour out your heart hoping for some emotional reciprocation, but it often feels like talking to a brick wall. It's a relentless cycle of trying to get through, only to be met with superficial responses or, even worse, complete indifference. In this regard, we have the best example of a book club podcast, Read with Jenna Today, hosted by Jenna Bush-Adger. In her podcast, she once shared her ordeal of dating someone who seemed perfect from the outside, charming, funny, and sociable, but behind closed doors, she felt like she was in a relationship with a ghost. Whenever she tried sharing her concerns or seeking advice, he'd switch the topic, crack a joke, or get suddenly engrossed in a video game. She recounted a time when she broke down crying after a particularly bad day, and instead of comforting her or simply being there, he asked if she wanted to order pizza. It was clear he wasn't grasping the gravity of her emotions. Now, feeling connected, valued, and truly seen is the bedrock of a genuine relationship. It's the foundation that holds both partners together. But if you find yourself constantly feeling isolated, disregarded, or even invisible, even though he's right there beside you, it's a glaring indication that he's not mature enough to be present in the relationship emotionally. It's about being an active participant, not just a passive observer. And if he's not ready to meet you at that emotional depth, it might be time to assess if he's truly the right partner for you. Okay, on to the second sign, which revolves around a common phrase we often hear. Number 2, living in the moment. Here's the thing, when does living in the moment become a problem? When it's all there is. Think back to our favorite childhood character, Peter Pan. The allure of Neverland, where time stands still, is one we all cherished. But while that's a magical fantasy, in the gritty reality of adult relationships, the eternal boy mindset is far less endearing. Consider this scenario. It's a Sunday evening, and you're cozily tucked into the magazine featuring the world's most romantic destinations. You're daydreaming about wandering through the vineyards of Tuscany or the beaches of Bali, and you share the stream with him, hinting at a trip next summer. Instead of enthusiasm, his response is either a non-committal, "Oh, that sounds nice," or an evasive, "We'll think about it later." He might even shift the conversation to the latest movie out or a game he's been playing. There was this woman, let's call her Emily, who once narrated a tale about her ex-boyfriend. They were together for nearly 4 years. He was the spontaneous sort, loved unplanned road trips, last-minute movie nights, and so on. Initially, Emily was swept up in the whirlwind of his spontaneity. But when she tried to discuss more grounded issues like saving up for a new car, planning for a big holiday, or even little things like joining a dance class together, he'd often dismiss it with, "Let's not rush things," or "Why the serious talk?" Yes, spontaneity has its charm. It keeps things fresh and exciting. But you see, there's a vast difference between being whimsically spontaneous and lacking direction. A mature man knows how to strike a balance. He understands how to savor the present while also laying bricks for the future together. When you're with someone whose vision doesn't stretch beyond the upcoming weekend, it's a definite cause for concern. It's like constructing a building. If you keep adding floors without a well-drawn blueprint or foundation, you'll soon have a shaky structure on your hands. Relationships are quite similar. Without dreams, aspirations, or plans for the future, you're in danger of building on a weak foundation. And if he's shying away from drafting that blueprint with you, you may need to reevaluate what you both are truly building together. Moving on to sign number 3, we have lack of freedom, autonomy, and independence. These aren't just buzzwords. They're the hallmarks of a mature, fulfilling relationship. However, there's a difference between being enamored with your partner and being overly possessive or suffocating. Remember those early days in a relationship when you'd spend every waking moment with each other? It's the honeymoon phase, and it's lovely. But as the relationship matures, so should your understanding of each other's needs, especially the need for personal space. It's a delicate dance of being together and yet giving each other the freedom to be individuals. Take the case of Anna, for instance. She loved reading and often visited the local library on the weekends. It was her me time. But when she got into a relationship with Mark, things changed. Mark would insist on accompanying her every single time. He'd sit there, fidgeting and bored, constantly asking when they could leave. He masked it as wanting to spend time together, but it was evident that he couldn't stand the idea of Anna having an activity that didn't involve him. This, ladies, is a glaring red flag. A healthy relationship thrives on trust and mutual respect. If a man doesn't understand the concept of personal space and feels the need to constantly keep tabs on you or be by your side, it's reminiscent of a toddler who won't let go of his favorite toy. It might seem endearing at first, a sign of how much he cares, but in reality, it can be suffocating and even border on controlling behavior. A mature partner understands that for love to breathe, it needs space. He should be secure enough to let you pursue your passions, spend time with your friends, or simply have some alone time without making you feel guilty about it. He should celebrate your independence, not inhibit it. Because at the end of the day, a relationship is about two individuals choosing to be together, not two people becoming one indistinguishable entity. Alright, let's move forward to sign number 4, which is he masked public humiliation as just a joke. This is a tough one, but it's important to come forward. You know humor is a beautiful thing. It has the power to heal, to bring people together, to make us forget our troubles for a while. But it can be misused, like any powerful tool. And when it's misused by someone close to you, the sting can be particularly hurtful. Picture this scene, which unfortunately isn't too uncommon. You're at a social gathering, perhaps a barbecue with friends. The air is filled with laughter, the clinking of glasses, and you scent of delicious food. You're feeling good. Then, suddenly, the atmosphere changes for you. Your boyfriend decides to share an embarrassing anecdote about you. To make it funnier, he exaggerates, adds a few twists, all at your expense. As chuckles erupt around you, you can feel your face burning and the weight of eyes on you. This sort of behavior isn't just teasing. It's a manifestation of deep-seated immaturity. A mature individual understands the difference between harmless ribbing and public humiliation. By trying to be the center of attention at someone else's expense, especially someone they claim to love, they're showing they prioritize their ego over their partner's feelings. Sure, in a relationship there will be times when you playfully tease each other. That's completely normal. But there's a world of difference between intimate jesting in private and making your partner the laughingstock in a group. And should they voice their discomfort and feelings of hurt, the mature thing to do would be to apologize sincerely. When he dismisses his hurtful behavior with a shrug and a "I was only joking," it reveals a lack of empathy and unwillingness to take responsibility for his actions. And if this becomes a pattern, you really need to question, is this the kind of relationship dynamic you want? Do you want to be with someone who consistently undermines and disrespects you, then hides behind the guise of humor? Well, it's a clear sign of an immature man. And ladies, those are the 4 clear signs of immaturity in men. So go ahead and choose your partner wisely by keeping these clear-cut signs in mind, because in the long run, relationships don't work with immaturity. And that wraps up today's video. I really hope you found it informative and learned a useful thing or two. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't already, so you never miss out on the upcoming videos. Thanks so much for tuning in, and best of luck.